Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
What you're mentioning, so chemical
Methamphetamine, yeah.
meth for meth?
Yeah, meth
And what kind of research?
with the young population, because you see, our problem is they are not visible. And since they are not visible, so problem does not exist.
So are you looking for prevalence of meth use or
And mental health.
Drug scene is
The architecture's there,
Right.
but it needs push
Yes.
to actually get it happening. And we know the results because, I do all the monitoring and evaluation of how it's all
Great work he has
perceived.
done.
But it's sort of someone needs to give them a boot to sort of say, this is for the future of the country. Drugs can undermine the country. And it has undermined many countries. So I think we do need to think about the generation that have been untouched, because a vast majority of children are not using drugs. It is still a minority who are using drugs. But there is a lot of experimentation, which can then go to another chapter. So I think we're interested in that as well.
more about their own lived experiences,
Got
more
it.
dynamics of the market.
Got it. So we have organizations in the United States that do that.
Right.
And they're experts who study
Right.
sales, buys, prevalence of use, characteristics of people, so people like that. So we will be happy to talk to our colleagues in INL. Also, at NIDA, we've talked about that before.
Right.
See what we can do, definitely. Yeah.
And because again, the meth treatment
Yeah.
is hardly available in the country. So we have to also learn from you that you or Southeast Asia, because Southeast Asia is far ahead.
So let me ask this: how would going through not that we have to complicate things, but that's part of the reason for the global coalition
Right.
is to learn more about the synthetics like meth, because we may see fentanyl, but meth is much more prevalent in the rest of the
In
world,
Southeast Asia.
while fentanyl is coming.
Right.
So maybe that's another avenue that we can use
Right. Absolutely.
to raise issue of, because that channel is something we are committed to as United States,
Right.
and it may be a good way to get there, basically.
The United States, it would be a very, very good relationship to learn, because you need people on the ground who knows what the Indian scenario is, because if you're coming in from the United States, it's impossible to know what the scenario is. But a collaboration would be a perfect sort of way of actually finding out what is actually happening on the ground.
I'm more happy if still they are using opiates.
Yeah.
Particularly the street heroin. For instance, we are recently hearing that the production of opium this year in Afghanistan has gone down drastically.
Yes.
It's not a good news for India.
Yes.
Because
it's not.
if the heroin is gone down, that means there is risk of fentanyl contamination, and we produce large scale fentanyl. So if the drug market here gets a whiff of that fentanyl can be added to heroin, then overdose situation like we see in North America,
Right.
something of that sort can happen here as well.
See what we are now doing from various news channels. We collect 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and we show it to judges, we show it to the bureaucrats. I have your number, so I'll just forward it, then you can forward it to him.
Yes, sir.
The fentanyl is visible and it is there, and people, especially in Punjab, see, you reduce supply without reducing demand.
Right.
They will find some way because the market is there.
Right. So we share your concerns in a big way, because the recent work that President Biden has done with President Xi is another area where we think the risk could increase in India for production and all of that. So I think you're on to something important here about this.
This year I completed what they call the Rapid Situation Assessment for Bangladesh. And it's been very widely from 11 districts. Methamphetamine has risen dramatically. It's the number one drug now in Bangladesh. So and I had done one earlier in 2019 to 20, and it wasn't even mentioned then. But in 23, it has skyrocketed.
Coming from Burma.
It's coming, yeah. I mean, it's always been there because we know the situation in Burma.
Yeah.
But it was quite a revelation, having been involved in both rapid situation assessments and doing comparisons. That 3 years, the whole landscape of Bangladesh has changed. And now they're in an absolute, they really don't know, because the treatment has always been about opioids or cannabis. It's never been on methamphetamines. So they're really in a bit of a disarray. They're not knowing what to do. So it will have a flow-on effect in India. It's all about time. It's nothing else except time. And it's so easy to manufacture, you know all about this. So really, and there's a demand for it. And people, once again, it was the same thing. The opioids was going down, methamphetamine was on the market, and people simply switched.
Meth is typically used in the labor industry, oftentimes for truck drivers and others. So is that something
No,
you're worried
no.
about for the workers? Who
No,
get-
no. Here, mostly marijuana or those type of drug or opium they take. Here, it is the college youth.
No, absolutely. I think this is really important. I mean, this is exactly why we put this global coalition, and I mean, countries like India are at the forefront of addressing it or not.